Gary, I believe this is one of your projects, and we've managed to switch the specification of some of the facade materials.
Yes, this was originally designed as a concrete exterior with core 10 balconies.
Mm-hmm.
And because of both budget and building efficiencies, I was asked to reconsider the materials. And fortunately, I was able to work within the new surround colour palette. And whilst I didn't want necessarily to make it look like I was replacing those materials, what these colours enabled me to do was get the suggestion of the original intent of the design into this project. It's quite strong. This is in a part of Melbourne. It's surrounded by, interestingly, a church which has really interesting stained glass windows, some strong colours, a lot of gold. So this building actually sits very well in the environment, and even though the colours are actually quite strong, it works in really well in that context, which is, after all, what it's all about for us. And then as you move into the interior of the building, it's taken from that, but it's just a lot more muted. This is an apartment of a building for about 35 apartments, and so the interior then starts getting a little bit more earthy and more muted in the colour palette.
This looks like mud, Kathy.
Yes, in fact it is. It's a new tile.
Wow.
It's really just mud, baked mud, without any chemicals added to it. And again, because when I worked with you on surround, it's never in isolation. It's always in conjunction with all the other materials that we're going to need to put a building together. So there's a continuation that happens in the choice of materials. And as you'll notice, quite apart from its beautiful textured surface, it's
really
also
lovely.
quite thin. And that's what surround does for us as well. It gives us a building product that we know is easier to work with on site, and that's what the client for this project wanted. And then we brought in, together with this mud, some other earthy materials like terracotta, and we've used this new colour called gauze for the interior cladding of the project. My client happens to love gold, but only in kind of limited areas, and this starts to kind of build up that environment where he can put his favourite colour into it. So if I take my earring off, that will then sit in amongst that palette, and that's how I persuade my client that, you know, how things work, whether it's fashion or fibre cement.
Yeah. We're seeing a strong resurgence of terracotta, so this is a really interesting form that it's taken. Part of the surround palette is headed that way, and I think we have our own interpretation of what that terracotta looks like. Have you got any sort of guidance for people wanting to experiment with that new terracotta?
Well, terracotta, as you know, as an earth-based material, can look so different. So it goes from those really deep baked colours to something as light as this. And in fact, as you can see, I've also got a very, very light coloured terracotta. So the range is enormous.
Yes.
It resonates. Terracotta resonates with people. It is natural. It's almost a breathing material in the way that it allows the passage of air to come through it. So it becomes less of a static material and something that's enlivened by the environment that it's in. So it's been a product that I think we've seen over many years now, just building and building in terms of its importance. And because you can't always use terracotta in its natural form, then it was important to introduce elements of that in the new surround colour palette for 2020. And it comes in many different colours in that palette, as it should.